A tragic, almost Byzantine mystery that began in Chicago 49 years ago tomorrow has latched onto a local family and just won't let go.
Imagine discovering that the identity you've had your entire life isn't real, that the family which raised you isn't your family at all, and that you don't even know your real name.
Well, that's a case that began with a sensational kidnapping in the Midwest, but has now spread to Southern Nevada and the BI team. George Knapp here with this exclusive story.
You ever had that feeling when you were a kid that you must have been switched at birth or something, or that aliens had dropped you off because you couldn't possibly belong to your own family? Well, for Paul Joseph Franczak of Henderson, it's more than a fuzzy feeling. Tomorrow is supposed to be his birthday, but he's just recently learned that he has no idea when he was actually born, that his parents aren't really his parents, and that he hasn't a clue where he's from or who he is. It started with a kidnapping that exploded onto an international stage, and it's one amazing, puzzling tale.
I don't even know how old I am, or who I am, or what nationality, all those things that you just take for granted.
Paul Franczak has had two identities in his 49 years, but neither are his own. His first namesake was born April 26, 1964, at Chicago's Michael Reese Hospital, the son of Chester and Dora Franczak. One day later, a woman dressed as a nurse walked into the mother's hospital room and said the baby needed to be examined by a doctor. Dora handed him over.
7 hours later, a doctor comes in to check on her baby. And she's like, "You guys have my baby." And he's like, "No, we don't."
A frantic, desperate manhunt was launched by police. Witnesses say the middle-aged woman had walked out the back of the hospital, hopped into a cab, and drove away with the baby. Police went door to door in the neighborhood, circulated artist sketches, interrogated and released 6 different suspects. The story exploded onto the national stage. 175,000 letter carriers joined the search, as did the FBI. Agents examined 10,000 babies, interviewed 3 times that many witnesses. The kidnapping became an international sensation. The heartbroken Franczaks were hounded by media.
It was huge. My parents have letters from the Pope, letters from people from all over the country. It was a huge case. And my parents got really frustrated because they'd have reporters hanging outside their windows, climbing to telephone poles, taking pictures of them when they were at church, just following them all over the place.
Phony kidnappers tried to extort money from the Franczaks and were arrested, but the baby was never found. 2.5 years later, a boy in a stroller was abandoned outside a store in Newark, New Jersey. Child welfare authorities named him Scott McKinley. FBI agents examined him at the orphanage, looked at his skin, bones, blood, and his ears.
The FBI decided that because my ears matched the Franczak baby, that I was probably the Franczak baby.
Mrs. Franczak took one look and said, "That's my baby." "It's Paul," newspapers declared, though police admitted they still had doubts. The Franczaks adopted Scott McKinley, renamed him, and returned him to a loving family in Chicago. The boy in those home movies was happy and healthy. Paul says he had no idea about the kidnapping until years later when he found a box of newspaper clippings. Even then, his parents didn't tell him much. As he grew older, though, he began to suspect he didn't quite belong. He was different, didn't look like his Polish-Croatian parents, but was never able to get any solid answers from them until just recently.
I'll tell you that when she was born in the hospital, I didn't let her leave my side once.
For most of his life, he's been Paul Joseph Franczak, but now, living in Henderson with wife Michelle and daughter Emma, the need to know for sure has grown more imperative.
You know, she knows my side of the family, but we don't know anything about his parents and health issues or anything like that, so.
Did he tell you this story sort of in the beginning when you're first maybe
Yeah, I think we had gone on about 5 or 10 dates.
It's a great line, George. It always works.
I thought he was crazy. I really thought he was crazy. I was just telling my coworkers today, I thought, this is a lifetime story. This can't be true.
But Paul showed her the old news clippings. Last year, while his parents were visiting from Chicago, Paul decided to do something. He bought a DNA kit at a drugstore.
And I said, "Hey, by the way, have you guys ever really thought if I was yours?" You know, kind of making a joke of it, you know? They're like, "Yeah, we thought about it." I'm like, "Hold on." I went and got the DNA kit, brought it out, and 5 minutes later, we're swabbing away.
A week later, a DNA technician told him the stunning news.
There's no remote possibility that you are the Franczak baby. And I was like, wow.
He told the I-Team his story, but has not been able to bring himself to tell his parents.
Lucky. He's so lucky that he was adopted by the Franczaks. You know, because who knows what life he could have had.
You come in, you haven't told him yet.
Yeah, I haven't told them. I want to do it right. There's no do-overs in this one.
Like I said, as a mother, I think it's going to be very difficult. Very difficult. My heart goes out to them,
That's,
but it's important to him.
I
It's
know.
important for our family.
And the whole thing is, it's just, it's not just about them anymore, it's just about me. It's about, is their real son still alive? Is he out there? Hopefully this story can help us find out.
This isn't just one mystery, it's several. What became of the real Paul Franzak, not to mention his kidnapper? Why was that baby abandoned outside a store in Newark? What's the real name, age, and nationality of the guy living out there in Henderson? And where's his other family? When the I-Team started working on this story weeks ago, Paul had not yet informed the Franzaks about the results of the DNA test. But his parents have now been told the hard truth. Tonight at 11, we'll have that part of the story. We've put together a special web page which contains everything we could find on this case in hopes the public might help us solve these mysteries and assist Paul in learning who he really is. And we hope you will add your input and ideas because we're in this for the long haul. So you can go to our website, use the keyword mystery, and see it all laid out there.
Let's hope we can solve it.
Yeah, can't wait to see the 11 o'clock.
Well, we'll have lots of updates if there's progress. We'll certainly let people know.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.